What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions talk. We are back on a live stream, back talking some live Lions football, and I could not be more excited to get into it. Now, as people begin to roll in, as we do every single week, I do have a starting topic today. Now, as everybody knows, the NFL draft was a couple of weeks ago, and about a week after the NFL draft, the NFL schedules were released. Of course, telling the Lions who they were going to play, when they were going to play, of course, different locations, different times, and what primetime games the Detroit Lions would have. Now, of course, with all the rosters changing, with free agency being over, with the draft being over, the NFL teams look a lot different. The Detroit Lions opponents look very, very different now than they did a month or two ago. And today, to start off this live stream, I wanted to go over the Detroit Lions schedule, kind of give a brief little description of what to expect, give a brief little description of what games I think are winnable, what games I think are not so winnable, and kind of overall go over a general, outline of how the season may look for the Detroit Lions come September 12th. Now, with that being said, of course, the Detroit Lions kick off their 2021 season against San Francisco, as they do play at home, I believe. Yep, they do play at home. And I think this is going to be a very interesting and a very telling game for the Detroit Lions. I think that the San Francisco 49ers match up very well against the Detroit Lions. I think both teams, their strengths kind of play to the other team's strengths. Of course, the Detroit Lions this offseason focusing heavily on the run game, focusing heavily on the trenches, the offensive line, and the defensive line. You have Penny Sewell, the biggest addition. Of course, you have Frank Ragnow, who's coming off a very good season. You have Taylor Decker, who's coming off a very good season. You have Jonah Jackson, who's coming off a very impressive rookie season. And then you have Big V moving inside the guard to be a big, powerful run blocker. But if you're the San Francisco 49ers, you turn around and you look at their defensive line. Nick Bosa is returning. They have, I believe, D Ford is still there as a pass rusher. They have Javon Kinlaw, I know, is a defensive lineman there. Like, they have a really, really talented and very good defensive line group for the San Francisco 49ers. So in this game, I think what it's really going to come down to is going to be the offensive line versus the defensive line. I think it's going to be trench warfare. It's going to be whichever line can get the push first, whichever line, whether it be San Francisco's defensive line or the Detroit Lions offensive line, whichever one can dominate the trenches is who is going to walk out the victor of this game. I think that's going to be the biggest matchup for this football game, and I think it's going to be the determining factor for, who is going to walk out of this game 1-0 and start their season off on the correct track. Now, on the other side of the ball, of course, you have maybe Trey Lance starting his rookie season, maybe starting week 1 if he does end up beating out Jimmy Garoppolo in the preseason or throughout the offseason. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to start this season for the San Francisco 49ers. I think he's a little bit more experienced. They may trade him. There's been a couple of trade rumors, of course, with the new rookie quarterback coming in. You may see Garoppolo be traded somewhere else. You may be seeing him not in San Francisco come week 1. But I think if it is a true competition between Garoppolo or Lance, I think Lance sits for a little bit. I don't think Lance is ready. I don't think he was ready for any team to start week 1. And I think the 49ers saw that. They see the upside, they see the talent, they see the projection, and they see what Lance can be as a starter in the NFL. However, I don't think he's ready to start right now. He's incredibly raw. I don't think is quite ready from the mental side of the game to be a full-time starter. And I do believe Jimmy Garoppolo will start week 1 for the San Francisco 49ers. So with that being said, what team do I think is going to win week 1? I personally think that this game could go either way. I think the Lions can win this football game. I think if their trenches, if their offensive line plays as well as we think they're going to play, and I think if their new look defensive line with Levi Onwuzurike, with Aleem McNeil, with Trey Flowers, and Romeo Okwara at outside linebacker, if their defensive line can get some push like we think they're going to do, if they can be disruptive and kind of get Jimmy Garoppolo off his spot with the upgrades in this secondary, I do think the Detroit Lions can and will walk out the victors. I think that Dan Campbell is going to get his team ready. I think all the hype, all the anticipation, of course, all this hype, and Dan Campbell can use every bit of it, right? Dan Campbell has not played a game yet. We don't know what this Lions team is going to look like. So if there's going to be any week where Dan Campbell can get his guys fired up to go out and play harder than they've ever played, to go out and just be better than anybody thinks they can be, it's going to be week 1, because they have everything to prove. They have really nothing to lose in week 1, and they have no reason to think that we can't go out and win this football game and be a competitive, tough roster to beat in week 1. So with that being said, although I think it will be an incredibly close matchup, I think it will be kind of a grindy, dirty kind of a game where you're just going to see, running the football and running the football and running the football. I think the Lions do walk out the victors of this football game. I think the Lions do start 1-0 this year against a very good, very hard-fought win versus a really, really good San Francisco 49ers football team. Now, moving on to week 2, the Lions have a primetime football game come week 2. They are playing Monday night, 8:15 p.m. in Lambeau, at Lambeau, against the Green Bay Packers. And I think this game is going to be 2 different scenarios. And of course, those scenarios being, is Aaron Rodgers going to play for the Packers or not? Now, in my opinion, I don't think he will, based off what I've heard and kind of based off what it sounds like is going to happen. I don't believe Aaron Rodgers will take another snap as the Green Bay Packers quarterback, which is phenomenal for the Detroit Lions, is really, really good, and is something that I am very much looking forward to as a Lions fan. But I think that's really going to hurt the Packers. Of course, losing a Hall of Fame quarterback, losing a MVP caliber quarterback right before your season, I think that's going to really hurt them. Of course, the Green Bay Packers went 13-3, I believe, a season ago. They had a really good season. This Packers roster does have a lot of flaws. I mean, their run defense is not fantastic. Their defense in general isn't all that great. Their offensive line was really good a season ago, but they did lose their all-pro center in Corey Linsley. They are, of course, it looks like they may be losing Aaron Rodgers, their Hall of Fame quarterback. And although the Packers roster has had a lot of issues over the past couple of years in general, Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams have always been able to kind of build them out. They've always been kind of able to just, be the Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams show. And, Aaron Jones gets in the mix a little bit. That offensive line helped a lot, but it kind of saves their defense a lot from what it seems like. It kind of saves their defense from really exposing the team. And I think if Aaron Rodgers leaves, whether you have Jordan Love or you have Blake Bortles or, you have any other quarterback in that position, I don't think the Packers are going to be that good of a football team next year. I genuinely don't believe the Packers are going to be that great next season, because they do have roster flaws. They do have a lot of flaws on their defense, and Aaron Rodgers is that good of a quarterback where he can elevate a team that far from, being potentially a 7-9 win franchise like I think the Packers are roster-wise, to being a 13-3 roster. So, with that being said, I think the Lions could walk out of this game as well as the victors. I think if Aaron Rodgers does not play, I believe that the Lions win on Monday night. And I think they start the season 2-0 if Aaron Rodgers is not playing. Dr. Detroit says this is where Luke rub off on Ryder, and Ryder predicts 9-11 wins. Watch, this is the same stuff every year. The real pros are all wrong, and we should be a good team. Went then 5-7, and they ask. I think we get 7-9. Personally, I don't think 9-11 is realistic. I think that's kind of far-fetched. I think that's a little bit unrealistic, but I think 7-9 is fairly realistic. And, as I said, I think the 49ers game could go either way. I think, I'm maybe being a little optimistic with that one, but I think that's a realistic victory for the Detroit Lions. And then, as I said, if Green Bay doesn't have Aaron Rodgers, I don't think they're going to be that good of a team next season. Dr. Detroit says, what happened? Then the whole time they were a 5-7 team. I mean, that might happen. They might be a 5-7 win team this year. I think they're going to be a little bit better. I think they're going to be 7-9. And that's kind of where my projection is right now. Again, like you said, 9-11, a little far-fetched, definitely way like that would have to be like everything goes right all season for 17 games pretty much to 9-11 wins. But I think 7-9, I think 8 wins is fairly realistic for the Lions. Bo says 8-9, baby. Fair. I like that prediction. Dr. Trish says 7-9 is fairly realistic if that happens. That's like I said, these games, I think a lot of them are going to come down to 1 or 2 possessions. I think the Lions are going to play a lot of close games because that's what they've done. Even under Matt Patricia, they were fairly competitive for a lot of football games, right? I mean, the Packers game was really, really close a couple years ago and ended in controversy. You have, even under Darrell Bevell, the Packers game was really close. The Vikings game was really close. The Bears game, we won that game, but that was really close. Like the Lions have been pretty competitive and they've been in a lot of football games. They just haven't been able to finish. And I think that trend of being close in football games late into the game is going to be kind of their saving grace. I think it's going to be a very similar story to what we saw a year ago and what we've seen over the past couple of years. And at the same time, I think the Lions may pull out one or two more victories this season that they may not have a season to go. And I think they're going to win a couple more close games, whereas they didn't a year ago. Bo says, "What up, doctor? How you doing, buddy?" 9-11 that's not that. I don't think that's realistic. Yeah, you're not drinking the Kool-Aid, props writer. I mean, I'm just trying to be realistic. Like, as much as I want to say, oh, we'll go 15-2, we'll go 17-0. I genuinely see this roster being okay. I don't think we're the worst roster in the NFL like everybody thinks we are. I don't think we're gonna be that poorly coached of a team, or I don't think we're going to execute that poorly as a football team like the media is projecting. I don't think there's I don't see a realistic outcome where the Lions finish 2-15 or 3-14 like everybody thinks we are. I don't see that. I think we're a little better than that, but I don't think 11 wins. I don't think double-digit wins is in the cards this year for the Lions. Bo says, "I'm hoping we surprise a few teams and don't get screwed by the rest." Hey, we'll hope, man. We'll hope and see. Dr. Detroit says, "I'm just keeping you honest so you don't set expectations over the moon and then everybody is let down." I mean, I'm just going to kind of roll with what it is this year. Take the 6 to 7 wins and let's continue to build. Take them ahead. All these 11-win BS sounds like SOL talk. Like I said, 11 wins, definitely far-fetched, definitely a little out there. I think perfect season, like absolutely everything is executed flawlessly. Jared Goff is a top 10 quarterback. Our offensive line pans out. Our defensive line is way ahead of schedule. Our secondary looks way better. Maybe you see 11 wins if like it's a perfect season. Not perfect, obviously, but if everything goes right for the Lions, Jared Goff top 10, offensive line top 10, top 5, like defense average, I think then see 11 wins, but that's very, very far-fetched. So Dr. Detroit says, "I want to say that also, but let's be happy we are tracking right finally." I agree. I think the Lions are going in the right direction. And regardless of how good they are this year, I think they are building properly. And I think they're going to be good in a couple years. And I think everybody agrees with that. I mean, I think even the most pessimistic of Lions fans are going to say that in a couple years, the Lions can be very, very dangerous. Don B, baby. You're so right, Don. Just enjoyed the new direction. That's fair. That's definitely fair enough. Definitely tracking the right direction for sure. I mean, building the trenches, building offensive, defensive lines is exactly what the Lions should have been doing, exactly where they should have been under Caldwell, exactly what they should have done under Quintricia. It's long overdue for the Detroit Lions, and some people are going to say, oh, it's an outdated mentality of team building. It's not. It's not. Trenches win football games. They won them back in the 50s for the Lions. They're going to win them in 2020. So in the 2020s, I say. Don Burr says, "Dr. Detroit, if you hear somebody else say 11 wins, I'm going to hide under the bed." That's funny. Anyway, moving on. So I have the Lions starting 2-0, maybe 1-1, depending on that 49ers game. As I said, I think it's going to be a lot of what ifs, right? If Aaron Rodgers isn't there, we win the football game. If our offensive line can hold up like we think, we win the football game. So, I mean, honestly, I could see 2-0 or I could see 0-2. I'm going to say 2-0 because I don't think Rodgers returns, and I do think the Lions catch some people off guard week 1. I think Dan Campbell really just gets them ready to go. Baltimore, optimism's good, but we're not beating Baltimore. It's just not. Baltimore's a very well-constructed team. Lamar Jackson is very good. Who else they got? They have J.K. Dobbins, who's very good. Their offensive line is solid even after losing their right tackle. Their defense is really good. They just upgraded the wide receiver, I believe, twice in the draft and got Lamar some more weapons. They're going to be a good football team. I don't see us winning. I think it's going to be fairly competitive for most of it, but I think 2-3 drives left in the game. I think the Baltimore Ravens pull away the last 5 minutes or so of the football game. Like Dr. Detroit says right here, I think Baltimore could go to the Super Bowl. They are that good of a football team with that good of a coach. The Lions are not winning this football game, barring a miracle. Steve-O says the Lions have won more than 10 games twice since 91. I doubt it happens this season. I'm with you. I think 7-9 is realistic. Double digits, not so much. Dr. Detroit says, "It's just TP, gets clicks and people watching. I'm convinced unless every year you were trying to be the smartest guy in the room." Sound familiar? I mean, hey, one season somebody's got to be right. I'm just saying, like one season somebody's got to be right about it. Niners game is definitely winnable off sheer excitement and adrenaline. That's kind of the direction I was thinking. I think just Dan Campbell's going to get them ready. The players are going to be ready. There's nothing out as of right now that says the Lions can't win that football game. I think adrenaline. I think excitement. I just think mentality. They're going to go out there and think that they are the best team that they can be. And I think they're going to go out there with the mindset of we're going to win this football game. And I think that gets them through the first game. So, yeah, I agree with you there, Don Burr. Sure, I see that. Good. At least we can agree on something. Lol, that's true. The blind squirrel finds the net every so often. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen versus Baltimore, but you never know, I suppose. Chicago, a game, again, I think is a winnable football game. You had, oh my God, what was his name? You had Darrell Bevell, who won against the Bears last year. The Lions played very well against the Bears last year. First game of Bevell's head coaching career. The Lions were excited. They were hyped. Kind of a similar situation to what I expect week one. Adrenaline, excitement. You're going to see this Lions team really show up, and I think you're going to see, week one, I think you're really going to see him show up and get excited, and that was kind of the same thing with Darrell Bevell a year ago as soon as he took over as interim head coach. I think the Lions can win this football game. The Bears are solid. They had a very, very good draft. They drafted Justin Fields, who, if you watched, I've been very high on for a while now. Dr. Choices I found often. Oh, I found one, and his name is Luke, LOL, JK, all love to Luke. I mean, hey, we'll see what happens. But like I said, they had a phenomenal draft. Justin Fields, very good quarterback, might be starting by week 4. You have, of course, they drafted Tevin Jenkins. I know for a fact he's going to start on that offensive line. He's going to be pretty solid. You have a couple other guys that they drafted I thought were decent. Their offensive line is not great, which is really good for us. Their offensive line is not great. They upgraded with Tevin Jenkins, but the interior still is not phenomenal for the Bears. Of course, their defense still got Khalil Mack, still got Eddie Jackson, still have Roquan. Very good core of defensive players. They lost Kyle Fuller, which is really, really good. The all-pro cornerback really gives Detroit problems all the time. He's gone now. He's in Denver, so we'll still see him this year, and we'll talk about him later, I'm sure. But he's still in the NFL. Of course, we'll play him again this season, but we're not going to play him twice, and he's no longer a member of the Bears, which is absolutely huge. Jalen Johnson's fine. He's a good cornerback. I don't think he's like an elite. I don't think he's as good as Kyle Fuller, but he's a solid cornerback. Like, they have a good defense. They have some really good pieces. Again, I think it's a winnable game. I think it's going to be similar to the 49ers. I think we split the Bears this season, so I'm going to give the Bears the win at home. I'm going to give them, the win. They're at Soldier Field. Maybe it's a rainy day. Maybe it's a rough day. The Lions kind of coming off a loss. They're kind of defeated. They're kind of down a little bit. I think the Lions split with the Bears this season, and I do think the Bears, I'll give it to them at home. I think at Soldier Field, the Bears pull out a very hard-fought win versus the Lions, and the Lions start 2-2. Lucas hilarious. He's entertaining, though. That's fair enough. Playing Green Bay and Chicago early is huge. I agree. Way harder game post-September. I don't disagree. Dr. Trey says, he is occasionally, like Anthony says, he is right about 2 out of 5 attempts. So he does keep you on your toes. That's fair enough. That is fair enough. But like I said, I think the Bears are a pretty solid team. I think they've got a lot of good pieces. I think they split, so they could see the Lions win this game, but I think at Soldier Field, kind of maybe a tougher environment to play with fans back in the stadium. I think you see the Bears pull this one out, and I think they start 2-2. But then I do think the Lions turn around in week 5, and I think they beat the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings, they were good. They were okay a season ago. They started very slowly. Kirk Cousins did not look great. Dalvin Cook, the whole team did not look great. Their defense especially was not very good early in the season a year ago. So, I think that you can maybe see a similar thing this year. Of course, their defense, their young players have an extra year. They have a year under their belt now of experience, so they may get off to a hotter start. But you look at that Week 17 game last year, the Lions, in my opinion, were the better team in that situation. And now, of course, they have better coaches, better coaching staffs, hopefully a better scheme in place. The Vikings, I think, are a little bit improved, but I don't think they're that much better than they were last year in Week 17. And honestly, I don't think the Minnesota Vikings are drastically better now than they were in Week 17. And I don't think the Lions are drastically better talent-wise, but I think they're coached far better. And, of course, with a couple referee opinions going one way or the other. The Marvin Jones catch, and if Tracy Walker doesn't call for that BS unnecessary roughness, the Lions win that football game. So again, I think it's going to be very close. I think it's going to be very, very good. I think it's going to be a very good football game, very tough, very gutty football game where the Lions are going to look to run the ball, establish dominance on the line, and I think they're going to do it. I genuinely do. I think the Vikings are kind of overdue for a loss to the Detroit Lions. I think Dan Campbell's going to get them ready. Dan Campbell's going to have them on their toes, starting 2-2. He's going to kind of get on them a little bit, and I think they're going to come out even better in week 5, and I think they're going to win. Bo says, I think we get swept by the Vikings. I don't. I think we go 1-1. Dr. Troy says, I think the Vikes are much better, and so is Chicago. Green Bay is always good. Dude, come on now. I mean, Green Bay without Aaron Rodgers is not a good football team. Chicago, as I said, I think they're I think they're a solid football team. I think they're an 8-8 or 8-9, I guess, a 9-8 football team. I think they're borderline good enough to make the playoffs. I think the same thing about Minnesota. I think they're a good football team. I think they can make the playoffs this year, and I think they're going to win, probably 8 to 9, maybe 10 football games if they have a really solid season. Bo says, I think a lot depends on Kirk Cousins. I agree. I think Kirk Cousins is going to be kind of the deciding factor. If he's having a good game, it's going to be tough to beat him. But if he's having a bad game, like he does occasionally, some days he just wakes up and does not feel very dangerous, I think the Lions can win. I think they can pull off an upset. Again, I think a lot of these games, right? Minnesota can go either way. Chicago could go either way. Green Bay can go either way. San Francisco can go either way. And I have the Detroit Lions, they pull out a tough one versus San Francisco. They pull out a tough one versus Green Bay. Not so tough one versus Baltimore, they take the loss. Tough one against Chicago, they lose a close one. Tough one versus Minnesota, they eventually pull it out and they eventually just kind of grind their way through it. So, I think it's kind of a little bit of give and take. I'm scared of Chicago. I ain't scared of Chicago. We'll sweep them. I think it really depends on how Justin Fields develops. I really think it's going to depend on how well Justin Fields plays his rookie season. How good is the scheme? How much does it help? And how well can the Bears develop their quarterback? Because Mitch Trubisky admittedly had talent when he was drafted. Maybe, of course, not Patrick Mahomes talent, maybe not Deshaun Watson talent, but he definitely had talent coming out of North Carolina, and they did not develop him very well as a quarterback. They did not give him a ton of help. They did not give him a great scheme, and he didn't play very well because the coaches didn't develop him. I think the same thing can happen to Justin Fields. Justin Fields, I think, is wildly talented, and I think he's way better than Mitch Trubisky. I think even right now, Justin Fields in the draft and Mitch Trubisky right now, I think I'll take Justin Fields over Trubisky day one right now. I think Justin Fields is way more talented, but at the same time, if Chicago doesn't use him right, if they don't put him in a system that's going to help play to his strengths, if they don't develop him properly, Justin Fields is just going to be the next Mitchell Trubisky. And with the track record, I guess, it kind of points and helps out the Lions in that situation. Dr. Trish is in Cinderella is not a princess without a slipper. My aunt had said, okay. 140 says we're beating the Niners. I think we do. I think, as I said, very close game, but I think the Lions pull it out based off just adrenaline, based off excitement, just being ready for the season, just Dan Campbell getting everybody excited, getting everybody hyped. I think they win off just excitement, adrenaline, and just passion week one, getting ready and getting this new regime started. I think Dan Campbell just gets them that ready and that excited that they're going to go out with so much energy and just play for 60 minutes and just have a really, really good football game. Bo says, whatever. Mitch was a beast against the Lions. Some people just play better against certain teams due to confidence. That's fair too. That's a fair analysis as well. Some players just happen to play better versus certain teams. Trubisky happens to play well against us, but that doesn't make him a great quarterback, right? He plays well some games and plays really bad some other games, but I think overall the Bears didn't properly develop him. And, as much as I like Justin Fields as a prospect and as much as I hope individually, I hope he has some success in the NFL because I want to see him succeed as a Lions fan and as him being a Bears quarterback. I really hope he doesn't. I hope that he does not play well versus the Detroit Lions of all teams. So, that's kind of how I see it. 140 says, we'll be running a 5-2. My high school team runs that. He went against a Matt Patricia defense. That's also fair. That is also very, very fair. Pretty easy to look great when you're, going against 3 average pass rushers. Romeo Caro was good, I think above average last year, but our pass rush in general was below average. I mean, our defensive tackles were not getting any pressure. Trey Flowers was hurt for most of the year. I mean, of course, Romeo stepped up big, but I think even above average wasn't going to save this Lions defensive line. It is pretty easy to look good versus a Matt Patricia defense, to be honest. But like you said, that's fair. I think this comment's interesting from you, One Pride, because I'm going to go back to it. You said we'll be running a 5-2. Now, officially, of course, as it was said, the Detroit Lions were going to be running a 3-4, but that was going to have both Flowers and Okwara on the edge as outside linebackers. So I do actually kind of agree with you. I think it's going to look more like a 5-2 defense. I think it's going to look like 5 people rushing the passer based off every quote, everything that I've heard. It sounds like, every time they're on the stage, every time any coach is at the mic from the defensive side of the ball, or whether it's Dan Campbell or Aaron Glenn or whatever, everybody's like, pressure is key, disruption is key, getting to the quarterback is key, and that is where they're putting all of their emphasis for the season. That's where they're putting all of their efforts, is into this kind of, I guess, this scheme where you're going to get pressure on the quarterback. You're going to send 5 guys at a time, and you're going to hope that they can win their one-on-one matchup. And with the state of this Lions defensive line, if you send 5 guys every single time, at least, 3-4 times a game, you're going to see Romeo win his one-on-one. You're going to see Trey Flowers win his one-on-one. You're going to see Aleem get pressure. You're going to see Levi get pressure. You're going to see Michael Brockers get pressure. And again, not every time, not every player you're going to see them get through on the quarterback, but if you're rushing 5 guys at a time, and the Lions admittedly don't have the greatest defensive line in football, they don't have the most talented front 7 in football, they are talented enough to win their one-on-one matchups more times than not, especially Romeo and especially Trey Flowers. They can win their one-on-one matchups often. So if you only get them one-on-one, and especially with, that pressure, that disruption up the middle, that's only going to make their jobs easier. I think that scheme is going to be just fine for the Detroit Lions. Bo says that's a fact. I would like it. He says, I'm good with 5-2 due to players we have. I agree. Pass rush is going to be huge. That's the whole point of this offseason. That's the whole thing they've been focusing on defensively, is get pressure, get to the quarterback, and force unforced mistakes, but you got to force mistakes that wouldn't happen unless you were to get that pressure, right? Force the quarterback to throw it early. Force the quarterback to maybe underthrow because he's scared he's going to get hit. Force the quarterback to flinch a little bit, move that little bit sooner so that the ball is underthrown or overthrown, to make that touchdown an incompletion, to make that incompletion an interception. And, of course, game of inches. That's what football is, and getting the quarterback is the biggest part of that. Getting close to the quarterback is big, but getting to the quarterback is bigger. So 5-2 is going to give the Lions ample opportunity to get to the quarterback more often, force more mistakes, and make the defense look so much better. Now, 140 says, and it should be that we've been pounding the table for pass rush. Hopefully we get it. I'm hoping so, man. I am really, really hoping so. And I think the new defensive line coach is big too. I think the new defensive line coach coming over from Jacksonville, where he developed, Josh Allen properly. He developed, he had Cleveon Chase on a year ago. Wasn't great, but as a rookie, I thought showed some decent things here and there. Wasn't great. Had that Saxonville defense on point in 2017. I think that he's going to develop some of our young guys, right? Romeo Okwara is still relatively young. I think that, Julian Okwara is kind of similar to Cleveon Chason, can do some similar things, just being an athletic edge rusher kind of a guy. I think there is some talent on this football team, and especially in the defensive line or front 7 in general, in the new coaching staff that's brought in, guys that have been proven that they can develop players are going to be really, really good. And I think he's going to be able to develop some of this young talent way better than some of our previous coaches. Dr. Tress, what do you mean? Luke said the possibilities are endless with our D line. It's a juggernaut. I don't know about a juggernaut, but I do like what they have in place. Of course, playing a 5-2, that could, of course, help the Lions get pressure on early downs. But I do think they've mentioned that they could potentially move Trey Flowers inside on obvious passing downs. They could potentially move Romeo inside on obvious passing downs, maybe looking more like a traditional 3-4 defense where you have one edge rusher as an outside linebacker, and maybe you put in a guy like Derek Barnes. Maybe you put in a guy like Jalen Reeves-Maben. Maybe you put in a guy like Jelani Tavai, who they've talked about as being just they've really been impressed with him. And maybe there are some formations where the front seven looks more like a traditional 3-4 with one blitzing and one rushing outside linebacker and one linebacker that kind of is more off-ball coverage kind of a guy. I think there's a lot of versatility in this defensive line. It's definitely not a juggernaut, but I think it's vastly improved from where it was a year ago. Steve O says, watch Alex Rollins' video about the 2020 Rams defense. It should give us a good idea of what the Lions defense will look like. I actually saw that video the other day, I want to say. I saw it earlier today as well. I didn't watch it yet, but I saw the thumbnail, and it's definitely a video that I'm going to go watch. I watch Alex Rollins quite a bit. I enjoy his content. He's a very good creator. I think he's pretty knowledgeable about football. Taught me a couple things for sure, but I really like him. I think it's a good content creator, and I'm definitely going to have to go watch the video. I was planning on it, but now that you say something, I'm probably going to watch it a little sooner. So for sure, we'll get on that. Opponents' O-line going to be exhausted in the fourth quarter. I agree. I mean, and at the same, like, I mentioned that this defensive line should be disruptive, but they all have high motors. Aleem McNeil and Levi and Trey Flowers and Romeo, they all play with a very, very high motor. And with that, of course, you have John Pennicini as a backup. You have Deshaun Hand as a backup if he's healthy. You have Austin Bryant as a backup if he's healthy. You have Julian Okwara as a backup if he's healthy. Like, I think the Lions have some decent depth as well that are just high motor players. And even if, one player gets tired, right, you can sub in Austin Bryant for a couple plays and, have him get at least some pressure. He won one-on-ones pretty decently. Like, when he was on the field last year, he was pretty decent for the Lions. Of course, was injury prone for most of the year, didn't get on the field a ton. But when he was on the field, I thought Austin Bryant played fine. I thought he was a good depth defensive lineman who did get some pressure here and there. Same thing with Julian Okwara. Like, he didn't get to the quarterback, but I thought he was a high, intense player, a guy that played with a lot of heart, a lot of passion, and a high motor that if you give him 30 snaps a game. If you give him 30, 35 snaps a game, if that, he's going to be a high motor guy that's going to get you some pressure and just give your starters a little bit of time to recuperate so that everybody on the defensive line is fresh come the fourth quarter and they're just exhausting offensive lines. And then when it's crunch time, when it's close, you're going to see this Lions team be fresh and fast and furious, and you're going to see this offensive line for other teams be just incredibly tired. You're going to see them gassed and not be very good. Bosa's getting Aleem and Levi playing time in their rookie year will pay dividends next year if they meet expectations. I agree. I 100% agree. Of course, the Lions haven't had a great defense for a while, and the last time they had a good defense was when they had a very good disruptive defensive line with Ndamukong Suh and all of those guys. But I think getting them playing time early is big. Getting them that experience early is big because they're super young. They are very inexperienced. Levi has not played in a year. I believe he opted out. Aleem McNeil, I think, did play last year. But, I think getting them playing time is going to be very big for sure. Prefer says the 2017 Jaguars defense gave teams hell. I agree. That team was very good. AFC Championship, definitely Super Bowl caliber roster and Super Bowl caliber team. Controversy to end the season, which is unfortunate for them, but definitely possible. That Jaguars defense was nasty. That Jaguars defense was disgustingly good. And, they were named Saxonville for a reason because they got to the quarterback. One preference says pass rush is better. Coverage pass rush, I would assume that means like pass rush makes coverage look better or something like that. Or pass rush is better than coverage. Either way, I think it's fair. Look what Washington front seven, and I bet you can't name me any of their corners or safeties. Landon Collin plays for them. Kendall Fuller, I think that's his name. The guy that used to be a Chief, he plays in their secondary. I believe Ronald Darby's in their secondary as well. I get your point for sure. I definitely get your point. I'm just saying, like, they do have some talent. Troy Apke, I know, is there as well. Detroit, I hated that defense. Which defense? Hold up. Last year's defense? Yeah, last year's defense was atrocious. And Barnes, dude, could be nasty. I think Barnes is going to have a role. He's not going to start, in my opinion. I don't see him being a starting linebacker at all. But I think he's going to have plays. I think he's going to have packages where he's going to come in and just be an absolute playmaker for the Lions. Again, I kind of talked about that. I think it's going to be kind of a Jared Davis role. He looked actually decent in coverage at the Senior Bowl. I kind of went back and watched that because I had missed that the first time when I was talking about Derek Barnes. They did put him in coverage snaps at linebacker in the Senior Bowl, and he looked all right. He didn't look very bad at all. Obviously not like a true big-time elite coverage linebacker, but I thought looked fine. I didn't think it was crazy about anything, but I didn't think looked really bad at anything in coverage either. I think Derek Barnes is going to be really good. I think next year or maybe 2 years from now, I think you see Derek Barnes being a full-time starter, maybe taking over Jamie Collins' role, maybe taking over Alex Anzalone's role. One of the two is going to be gone relatively soon. I think you see him be a starting linebacker, which is really, really good. One preference is what hurt that team is bad quarterback play. Washington or Jacksonville. I mean, either way, it's fair. Either way, you're right. But yeah, I get it for sure. Pass rush makes secondary look better, more potential interceptions across the board for sure. And one other thing on that is like more pressure means the quarterback has to get the ball out faster, which means our cornerbacks are going to have time to jump the pass. They're going to have the luxury of being more aggressive and jumping passes because the ball is going to be out so much faster that they're not going to have time to get beat deep because the quarterback's going to have to get rid of the ball so much quicker, and that's going to make teams have to run shorter routes, and that's going to give the Lions cornerbacks and secondary more opportunity to jump passes and get interceptions. Think 2017 Eagles. That team had a really good pass rush. Their secondary was okay, but they were top 5 in takeaways because teams were trying to throw quick, and their cornerbacks were just mean and aggressive and jumped everything. If one preference is our defense will be better for sure, but I won't go Saxonville. I will not go Saxonville level yet, but I think vastly improved is a fair enough statement in its own right. Own preferences, that's what I'm saying. No, for sure. Tavai as an all-pro. Build the team around him. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Smiley face, Jacksonville, Doc, lol, he sucks. No, I'm not even that Jelani sucks. He just is very, very slow. So we'll see. We'll see how this year, we'll see how the new coaching staff uses him. We'll see, maybe he did get a little bigger, a little faster, a little stronger in the offseason. Coaches seem to like him. Coaches talk about him like he's pretty decent. Made some plays for sure, but definitely way too slow. Definitely not worthy of that second round pick a couple of years ago. Still, I mean, an okay player, definitely an okay depth guy, but definitely a slow player. Definitely. Turtle Tavai, I think, is very fair. What is up? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're excited to talk some Lions football. How we doing today? Always excited to have you on. Always excited to see you here. Moving on, kind of getting back to what we started with. Cincinnati is not that good of a football team. If the Lions are going to get any pressure this season on any quarterback, it's going to be Joe Burrow. And I think they win this football game. I don't think that Cincinnati is that much better than they were a season ago, and their offensive line surely isn't that much better. Their offensive line was one of the worst in the NFL last season, and they did pass on Penei Sewell to get Jamar Chase. So, I mean, that's great, but I think if we're going to get pressure anywhere in the season, it's going to be this Cincinnati game. And I think the Lions, this is the first game where they win comfortably. I think this is the first win, kind of like Jacksonville a season ago, where it's not a great team. Talent-wise, they're not great. Coaching-wise, they're not great. They're not all. I mean, Jacksonville obviously was the number 1 overall pick a year ago. I don't think Cincinnati's that bad, but I think this is very reminiscent of the Jacksonville game a season ago, where it's going to be pretty comfortable. The Lions are going to be able to run the football. The Lions are going to be able to get some pressure, and it's going to be, a 14-point victory for the Lions, and going to be their first comfortable win in Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell's first comfortable win as a front office duo. What preference says Flowers is going to have to eat his money now, bro. If he don't perform, he's gone 100%. 100%. He definitely needs to perform this year after being injured last year. One Pride 40 also says, and Julian can take over if he can stay healthy and get better against the run for sure. 100%. I think on obvious passing downs, you might see Julian Okwara get some playing time because he is a good pass rusher, not a great run defender. Definitely a place he can improve at, but I think he has some skills to get on the field, and I think you're going to see him get a little bit of impact. I want him out either way. Draft him, baby. Draft him up, baby. Who are we talking about? So that's the thing. Like these comments, like I love obviously like engaging with you guys, but I would assume you're talking about Julian. I would assume you have to be. Not Julian. Trey Flowers, I'd assume is who you're talking about. I think Bryant's in trouble. I don't think he is. I think Bryant is going to be fine. He's kind of the backup to Trey Flowers. That's kind of your front four, or I guess your edge rushers, your outside linebackers. Yeah, okay, guess I'm talking to Trey. I think Bryant's going to back up Trey Flowers, and I think he's going to be fine. I don't think he's in trouble. He's still on a rookie contract, still very cheap, and I think has some upside. I don't think he's in trouble. Our edge rushers are not phenomenal. Our edge rusher is not like super deep, definitely not as upgraded as the interior of our line. So I don't think Austin Bryant is in trouble yet, but I think, if he doesn't have a good season, if he doesn't at least show some progression and show that he can stay healthy this year, I have a hard time seeing him being re-signed anytime soon. One preference says Hand and Pennicini. I think both of them are going to make the team and have some playing time this year. One pride says I would prefer Julian in that spot. I would prefer Julian to quite a few people. What's good, everyone? Cav Ice Cold, how you doing today? Good to have you in here. Julian Okwara breaks out this year. I'm hoping so, man. I'm hoping Julian has a phenomenal year. Luke G is in the building. What is going on, Luke? How you doing today? Glad to see you up and working. Glad to see you up and talking some Lions football. Bo says, I'm trying to picture a game MCDC can't get this team motivated to go out and play hard. I don't care if we lose, asking as they are giving 100%. I'm with you. I'm with you for sure. If he can stay healthy and on the field for sure. Absolutely. Cool hand. Hey, Luke. Lol. What up, bro? What's going on? So again, I think the Bengals win this, or I think the Bengals lose this game. The Lions win this game, was that 1 win, 2 wins here, 3-4. So starting 4-2, not bad for the Lions. I don't see them winning week 7, to be totally honest. I really don't. I don't think they do. I think the Rams are a really talented team unless Aaron Donald is injured, unless Jalen Ramsey is injured. Genuinely, I don't think the Lions win this football game. Stafford kind of gets his revenge, goes off on this Lions team. I think it's going to be a rough game for the Lions. So they start 4-3. Luke says, question, how do Lions finish with the same record they did last year with better coaching and culture? That's what I've been saying. That's why I think the Lions are going to be better than what people think they are. I mean, everybody in the media, everybody almost everywhere basically has the Lions hovering around 2 to 3 wins. Not that TPS is like a good sports. I mean, not that they're the most accurate in any way, not that they're very reliable at all when it comes to sporting opinions. But they had a video today talking about record predictions. They were like 4 wins is the ceiling, which is kind of ridiculous. But I'm with you. Like Matt Patricia struggled out 5 wins a season ago. I don't see how the Lions are worse than that. I don't think they're going to be double-digit wins, but I definitely think 7 to 9 wins is more than fair for the Detroit Lions. Cheryl says, if Amon-Ra fails, we don't want you picking anymore. That's fine. That's totally cool. I don't think he will, but that's fair enough. Beast mode this year, one pride. I hope so. Like I said, Julian just got to stay on the field and get better against the run. He'll be just fine. I agree with you for sure. Have they done updates on how healthy Hand is? That is a tongue twister. Oh my goodness. I haven't heard anything about it. I haven't heard anything about him being like injured or on the injury reserve list. But I would assume he's coming in at least in playing shape is what I would assume. Captain drafted Levi and Aleem for a reason. 100%. I think, I can't remember who it was. It might've been Ty Wash. It might have been the defensive line coach who said that Deshaun Hand can be special when he's on the field, but it's his job to keep him there. But like you said, Levi was drafted, Aleem was drafted. Our interior is actually fairly deep, in my opinion. The talent dropped a bit. We are young and never played together. Come on, you know that. But I don't think the talent did drop all that much, especially not defensively. And offensively, yeah, Goff's a little bit of a downgrade from Stafford. Marvin Jones and Tyrell Williams are not that different of wide receivers to where I can say that they're, it's that big of a downgrade. Our offensive line, our trenches definitely got better. Our running back room definitely got better. Our tight end room, I think, got better. I mean, I kind of see where you're coming from, Dr. Detroit, but talent-wise, I don't think we're actually that much worse than a season ago. Luke, because every team got better, new coaches, new schemes. The Lions lost their star wide receiver and star quarterback. The Lions didn't have their star wide receiver a year ago. That's what people are forgetting is the Lions didn't have a star wide receiver last year. The Lions were like second in the league in drops, and Kenny Galladay played 3 games. That's not a star wide receiver. That's not a star player. That's not losing a ton of production. The Lions played last year without Kenny Galladay, and I think everybody forgets that. Like, yeah, he was on the roster, but he wasn't playing. So how are we going to say the Lions are going to be bad because they lost Kenny Galladay when they pretty much lost Kenny Galladay last year anyway? 154 says, "What's up, Luke?" Sure says, "It was a joke, bro. You can pick anytime." I mean, hey, if they call me up again and they want me to pick, I'll be there. I will be there. I will be on the stage, and I will be more excited than the last time. But I think if Amon-Ra doesn't work out, I don't know if I want to be picking again, to be totally honest. Their schedule is hard, though. It's definitely not an easy one. Don't be surprised if Hand is out there, though. I wouldn't be surprised. He's talented enough to be there. Rob, it's a year-by-year league. That's true as well. Lol, Kenny, not a star wide receiver, dude. I mean, he is a star wide receiver when he's on the field, but he's not on the field or he at least wasn't on the field last year for the Lions. So, I mean, that's kind of my thing is like, how can you say Kenny Galladay is that difference maker when he wasn't on the field? Doctor says Anthony can get sensitive a bit. Lol, he will lighten up after. I mean, I'm not even sensitive. I'm just trying to explain my perspective. Like, everybody's like, yeah, we lost Kenny Galladay. Where did we lose Kenny? He wasn't on the field a year ago. That's just from my point. I'll give you Stafford. Yeah, Stafford, I'll give you. Stafford, definitely a downgrade, or, Goff, definitely a downgrade to Stafford. But other than that, where on the roster got significantly worse? Wide receiver, you could say, but like I said, Kenny didn't play. Marvin Jones was fine, but Tyrell Williams can do everything that Marvin did. You have Hawkinson, who was probably our best wide receiver, still there. You have Quintez Cephas, who showed flashes, still there. I mean, our wide receiver core isn't all that worse because, yeah, on paper, we were great a year ago at wide receiver, but on the field, we definitely were not. Rob Swift says his contract would say he's a star. Well, so would Kirk Cousins. So would Big V. So contract doesn't mean everything, but I get what you're saying. Our wide receiver got worse for sure, but Goff isn't a huge downgrade. Our offensive line and running backs make up for it. Defense can't be worse. That's fair enough as well. Our defense can't be much worse. Goff is a little bit of a downgrade, but not crazy. Our wide receivers are, I'd say, worse, but I wouldn't say they're significantly worse or that much worse. So, I mean, talent, yeah, I'd say maybe certain spots are down, but overall, I believe the Lions are more talented this year than they were a year ago. One of our first is law, people get overpaid all the time. Yeah, pretty much. Marvin Jones and Hawkinson were the main wide receivers with a sprinkle of Sanu. I think we slightly make up for both Jones and Sanu. Like I said, I think Tyrell Williams is a fine Marvin Jones replacement, and Sanu, I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown could probably do a lot of that. If not, you have, of course, Brashad Perryman, who's okay. You have Quintez Cephas, who I think will take on a bigger role. I think we make up for that production for sure. And of course, Hawkinson is still there with a scheme that hopefully uses him a little better. Let's see. Luke says at Rob Swift, who's the star wide receiver? We lost something and got something, so that's breaking even. Like I said, I think Tyrell can replace Marvin just fine. I'm not a fan of Goff's contract, but we got Melifonwu and two-time future. I said two-time future. 2 future first-round picks. That's worth money. 100%. 100%. What up, Doe? One Pride 40. Let's see. That's what I'm saying. We stay almost even, and we are young, so I don't expect much this season. Anything that looks like building, I'll accept. That's fine. That's fair enough, and I know a lot of people are going to take that route. Let's see. And plus, we've been pounding the table for wide receivers that can get open. Danny Dimes ain't hitting Kenny in those tight windows. That's true as well. That is true. Danny Dimes is definitely no Matthew Stafford, so we'll see about that one. But our offensive line should be better next year, 100%. Absolutely. I hope so. I think everybody hopes so. There's a reason the Lions got Perryman. He's on what is 4th team in 5 years, and Williams has big injury concerns. Marvin Jones had injury concerns. Kenny Galladay literally was injured all season. Like, the production is fine. Rashad Perryman is fine. I mean, we know we're getting in him, a guy that's really fast, a guy with big playability, but an inconsistent player. I mean, I'm not expecting big things out of either. I'm not expecting 1,000-yard season out of either, but I think 800 to 900 yards for Tyrell and, 500 yards maybe for Brashad Perryman is fine. It's very acceptable. And that's going to be pretty much replacing everything we lost. Pick six Stafford, Goff is better fit. I wouldn't know. I mean, I wouldn't think so. I think Stafford's just a better quarterback. I think that Anthony Lynn might have worked with more quarterbacks similar to Jared Goff for, rollout bootleg purposes, but I don't think that Goff is better than Stafford. And I would take Stafford right now over Goff any day, but Goff's not a bad quarterback. Swift, I just got my helmet signed by Perryman. Good stuff. Let's see. Number 4 says, and we got Amon-Ra St. Brown, a slot receiver that can get open, and also Kenny is severely overrated and can't create separation. I don't think Kenny is overrated necessarily, but the separation concern is definitely there. Just got a side helmet. That's very cool. Goff's better than Alex Smith. I'd give you that. I hope Stafford shows us mercy, but no way. It's a revenge game for Goff, which makes Matt have to kick our rear end unless we can get to him. Yeah, I don't see it. I really don't. Let's see. Luke G says, Rob Swift, all that means nothing. We have to explore all perspectives, and you're missing some really big perspectives, like how this team has a proven offensive coordinator who has once a head coach and how players like the staff. I agree 100%. I'm right there with you. Let's see. This was the next one. We win the North. Willing to bet our northern teams are not better than the Lions. I wouldn't go there. I would not bet that money. If somebody said, I'm not taking the Lions to win the North, but I'm definitely taking the Lions not last in the North, which is good. Which is improvement, of course. Refs better not screw us again. I don't think they want to mess with Dan Campbell. And I mean, if the Lions actually get a real life lion in the building, I don't think the refs are going to be messing with us anymore. Excuse me. Geez, I'm very congested today. I just want Goff to play decent because I don't want a quarterback next year. We'll have to wait and see. Nobody knows if St. Brown will do anything. He's a rookie. Nah, but we can project pretty accurately. Kenny got injured every year. He didn't get injured in 2019, but that's fine. Perryman is reunited with his position coach from the most successful year. That's a good point as well. And he's playing for his dad's team. Very true as well. Looney Tunes in the building. What's going on, buddy? Happy to see you. Luke, the issue is not following in leadership. It's talent and health, which has been lacking a bit. Definitely been lacking in previous years. I'll give you that. I see LA being a good I see the LA game being good. Then we win against the Eagles. I'm with you there. I think Eagles is a win. That's their 5th win on the season. Week 8. I mean, start 5-3. What was that? 1, 2, 3 losses? Yeah, 5-3 on the season. That's not a bad start. And then they have a decent bye week this week, actually. They have a decent bye week. I'll get to you in just a second. I'm pretty sure Bevel was a proven offensive coordinator. He coached Seattle during the Super Bowl. Fine, but I think Anthony Lynn's a little better. Robert Swift, how can you say no one knows what St. Brown will do, but speak so sure on what Perryman and Williams will do? That's fair as well. Let's see. Detroit, what's wrong with the Lions' talent? Every team has injuries. Yeah, the Lions have been a little injury prone, a little more than everybody else, but I get what you're saying, Luke, but the Lions have definitely had more injury concerns than the average NFL team. Looney Tunes says, what did I miss? You missed quite a bit, buddy. We are almost an hour into this thing. We've talked about a couple different topics, the biggest of which, as of right now, being the Lions roster and the Lions roster 1 and their talent, but of course their schedule, which is on the screen. Just a quick recap for everybody that may have joined late. I have week 1 being a victory. I have week 2 being a victory. I have week 3 being a loss. I have week 4 being a loss. I think we beat the Vikings. I think we beat Cincinnati, and we lose to the Rams. And I think we beat Philadelphia, starting the season at 5-3, going into the week 9 bye. And might I say, how fantastic is it that the Detroit Lions get a not week 5 bye this week or this year? What a phenomenal thing. things are changing, people. I'll tell you that. Bo says, I've got to hit the road, but I'll listen and be judging. I expect nothing less. Later, everyone. Good talking. Good talking to you too, Bo. Glad to see it. Wherever you're going, hope you have a great time. There's a reason these guys are 1-year free agent signings. Yeah, because they have to prove themselves first. Luke agreed on injuries, but we have a bunch of injured players, Hand and Bryant's. We added more in free agency, so we are way out there. Then there's talent just not proven yet, especially as a younger, newer deam. I mean, I think Dr. Detroit makes some fair points. I don't think you're wrong, Dr. Detroit says later, bro. Have a good day, buddy. Good talking to you again. I think Dr. Detroit has some points. I mean, I don't think that this team is, the most talented. I think, of course, they have some injury concerns, but I still think they definitely have potential to be great. I think the injuries the last couple of seasons was due to players not wanting to play hurt. For Patricia, I think we're gonna see a lot more healthy team this season. I don't know. I kind of get what you're saying. I think not that we're gonna have less injuries, but I think you're gonna see players fighting a little harder to get back on the field sooner with Dan Campbell. So from that perspective, I agree with you. Lions going 10-7. That might be a little bit of a stretch. Looney Tunes says I see us having 6 to 8 wins. I'm 1 win higher. I'm 7-9, but that's pretty similar. And also something wrong with the cap because something like COVID. Cap is what it is. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, at some point. I hope so, but we added some more injury-prone players. So, like I said, we'll see. We'll definitely be seeing. That's where I have them too, Looney. What do you think our record will be? I don't know yet. We'll see when we get to the end of this. Steve-O, me too. I know we traded all of our receivers, but I think we can be good this year. I mean, we didn't trade them. We just let them walk. The injury-prone players. Let's see. Committee says we're going 5-12. I think we'll be way better. Well, not way better. I think we'll be better than that, though. Who's going to play safety next to Walker? Harris. Come on, man. The holes are big in some areas. I mean, Okuda can play safety. Melifanu can play safety. Either one of them are fine. They'll be good at safety. Goff gonna have a great year. I hope so. I really, really hope so. Let's see. And don't forget, people, we're saying Patricia used to overwork his players, hence all the injuries. That's a point I didn't think about. That's fair, though. Let's see. Who's a dark horse for each side of the ball? Dark horse players. Let's see. I think Quintez Cephas can be good on the offense. For sure. I think he's a guy that definitely showed flashes last year. Hopefully he gets a little bit more consistent with his hands. Hopefully he gets a little bit more consistent with his route running. Hopefully him and Goff have a little bit better of a connection early in the season than Stafford and Cephas. I think Cephas is kind of your dark horse player on the offense, a guy that's not really being talked about, but a guy that I think is going to get playing time, is going to get some definitely going to get some opportunities. And if he makes the most, you could see Cephas on the field more than you might think. And on the defense, a sleeper player on the defense, I think Derek Barnes could be a sleeper, a guy that's not going to start, but I think is going to have a very impactful role. I don't know. I think Barnes is a sleeper. Trying to think. Julian Okwara, I think, could be a sleeper this year for sure. Those are kind of my guys. I like both. I like all of them. Running backs are improved. I wish Kerryon produced better, but Swift and Williams is better. Plus, I saw all the offseason video about Jamar Jefferson, and he's going to surprise a lot of people. I agree. Okuda or the rookie have never played safety in the NFL. You're predicting, but all their skills tell me that they can play. Just because they haven't doesn't mean they can't. Everything that they do tells me that they can play safety. So I hope Goff make people look stupid. That's my hope. That's my hope too, man. I'm hoping that Goff is a great player for the Lions. I think Perryman is going to have a breakout year. Your thoughts on Perryman? I think he's solid. I think he's a good player. Definitely a big play threat. I don't know if he's going to, break out and be some all of a sudden dominant wide receiver, but I'm definitely thinking he's fine. I'm definitely thinking he's solid, good enough wide receiver for what the Lions are looking to run. Let's see. Rob Swift says, Steve says, Rob Swift, you're right. If the Lions want to compete, they need to sign another starting safety, in my opinion. I don't disagree, but I think they do have some players on the roster right now that can transition to safety and be just fine. Malik Hooker's an option, though. He's injury prone, but solid when he's on the field. That's just the first safety that popped into my head. I know Kenny Vaccaro's still out there. He's okay. I'm not expecting it. I'm just hoping for it. I think we're in the same house with that one. Dark horse, Jamar Jefferson and Jonathan Adams Jr. on offense. Defense, Derek Barnes, and I assume that means a Fetty, not iffy. But I'm with you. I think both of them are going to be I think all four of those players are going to be solid. I think Jonathan Adams makes the team and surprises some people. The most improved thing we've done, even if the person is injury prone, we didn't sign them to an outrageous contract. That is very, very true. I think our receivers are going to drive us to 11-5. I don't. I feel Sewell going against Bosa. We'll see. We'll definitely see. We'll definitely see. J.O. could play safety, but I want to see him be a shutdown cornerback. Yeah, fair enough. Trey Boston's out there. He could be a decent safety to pick up. He'd be pretty cheap, I'd assume. One player I feel like could do a little something if he were to get some offensive snaps is Khalif Raymond. Dude has so much speed. That's true as well. That's very true. Khalif Raymond, I think, an underrated player. Might like safety in next year's draft. That could be true. I haven't looked at the draft class next year so much, but it's definitely possible. Lions should run a 4.25. I don't think that's what they're going to run. And I believe, actually, we talked about this earlier. We, at least projection-wise, I think it's going to look more like a 5.2, even though they've said they're going to play a 3.4. So, but we'll see, though, for sure. I think it's going to be multiple. I think we could see a couple different formations throughout games, but 4.25 wouldn't be the worst thing. Bosa's injury prone. Bosa literally missed one season. I'm not going to say he's injury prone when he's had literally one injury. Let's see. Pittsburgh Steelers. Tough game. Just getting back to that. So the Lions right now are at 5-3. Pittsburgh's going to be tough. I don't know what happens. Ben, I believe, is returning. Najee Harris, I think, is a good running back. Their defense is still very good. I think the experienced coach here and Mike Tomlin, I think the more experienced quarterback, I think the better defense wins this football game. I think Steelers pull it out, but I think this game, like a lot of others, could go either way. To be totally honest, I think this game could go either way. But I do have us losing, so that's 5-4. And then Cleveland, I also have us losing 5-5. So I think the Lions start 5-5 this season. Going into week 12, they will be a 5-5 football team, right around 500, which I think is more than fair for the Detroit Lions. Let's see. Lions could be waiting for some June 1st cuts too. That's possible. I bet Goff go to the Pro Bowl. I probably wouldn't go that far, but we'll see. In college too. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Hand is the most intriguing sleeper. If he's healthy, Deshaun Hand is going to be good. I have just come up with an idea I can't wait to talk about. Well, I will be there. Whenever you get this idea, whenever you're talking about this idea, hey, invite me on, and if I'm not busy, I'll definitely be there. Potentially, spill it, Luke. It's going to be tomorrow. I don't know, but if it is tomorrow, I'll be there, buddy. People dissing Goff may not realize Goff lost Gurley in his backfield. That correlated to his down season. Unless it's sessions, but I'm sure it means season. Also, Goff didn't have the fastest show on turf like Warner did years ago. He had Cooper Kupp. I don't think Goff is horrible. I really don't. I think Goff is more than serviceable. I think he's a ranking 15 to 20 as far as quarterback rankings. But I don't think he's a Pro Bowl talent. I think he's good enough, but I don't think he's Pro Bowl caliber. So I'm not necessarily dissing on Goff. I just don't think he's quite the same player that maybe Stafford was. Kool-Aid and Cornbread, of course, in the building. Says, I'm putting some money on the Lions to win the division at 20-1. My question is, does Aaron Rodgers play again for the Packers? I don't think so. I don't see it. I honestly, I don't see him playing another snap in a Green Bay uniform. So I personally don't. He was injured in college and his rookie year, I guess. But, well, was he injured prone his rookie year? I mean, I thought he played most of the games. Maybe not, but I thought he played most of it. And he'll definitely be there week 1, so it's not like it really matters. It'll be tomorrow. Good stuff, Luke. I'm looking forward to it. Goff more athletic than Stafford. Oh, Goff more athletic than Stafford. I'd give you that. We collect future stars in the draft like Sewell and St. Brown. I think so. I'm with you. It wasn't when we played Gurley. It was when the Rams played or made a mistake and almost all their good offensive linemen left. That's true. I think that's more what it was. Is the Rams had a really good offensive line in 2018 when they went to a Super Bowl, and they did not last year. Their offensive line was not very good. So I think that's where a lot of Goff's struggles came from. He says, I believe paying a running back is stupid. It depends on what you're paying him, but definitely like a huge loaded contract, I think, is not smart. Getting back to the schedule, week 12, I said I think we split the Bears this season. I had them winning in week 5. I think the Lions win right there. That's 6-5 on the season. Again, same thing with Minnesota. I think we split Minnesota. Did we? I don't know if I had them winning or losing. I think we had winning in week 6. So I'm going to say we lose this one. I think we split against Minnesota. So that's 6-6 on the season. Denver, we should take care of. I think Denver's fine, but I think Drew Lock is not really the greatest quarterback in the world. That's 7-6. Arizona, I think, is a close game. You don't know we don't really know how Arizona's going to look. Of course, JJ Watt was big. You have a couple other players that they added. AJ Green is a, kind of a bigger name guy, but I don't think it's going to be a huge contributor. So, I mean, Arizona, I think, can go either way. The Lions going into this game, what I say, 7-6. That would be, that would be right. So 7-6 after Denver. Arizona, I think you could see 7-7, or I think you could see 8-6. Or the two. We'll say 7-7. I think Arizona is going to be a very good team. I think 8-7 after Atlanta. I think 8-8 after that, and I think 9-8 after Green Bay. Especially if Aaron Rodgers isn't there. So early projections for the Lions, without going super in depth, without really researching and doing a lot of roster checks and a lot of coaching checks and all that. My early projection for the Lions, based off just gut instinct and kind of what I know briefly off the top of my head, is an 8-9 season. That is my projection, and that, of course, is if Aaron Rodgers does not return to the Green Bay Packers. Now, getting back to Rob Swift, says Brown might be good. Nobody knows. He's a 4th-round wide receiver. There was 15 other wide receivers drafted before him. That is true, but that does not always mean that there are 15 better wide receivers than him from this draft. Jamar Williams says Amon and Cephas are going to have a great year. I really, really hope so. And Kool-Aid and Cornbread with the first super chat in channel history. I appreciate the $5 donation. Really, really do. Fantastic stuff. I'm so happy. I'm glad that you donated, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. If no Rodgers will sweep Green Bay, I agree with you 100% with you right there. The Packers just gave Aaron Jones a hefty contract, and he just lost one of the best centers in the league in free agency. That's true as well. That's another thing that I mentioned earlier is they lost their all-pro center, and even though they did bring back their guy in Aaron Jones, who's very good, I don't know who's replacing Corey Linsley, so their offensive line could take a step back as well. 1.4. I got you with the contract. Don't worry about it. The knock is St. Brown is he disappeared in games and regressed during college. That just kind of happens to every wide receiver some games. Sometimes it's not their game to be great. Like sometimes the quarterback just doesn't get him the ball. That's not always on him, and I think he's a fine player. If Rodgers isn't in Green Bay, he will probably be in Denver, so swap those W's and L's. Fair enough. I mean, I don't know, of course, where Aaron Rodgers is going to go. He's even said he might retire. Like, he's threatened retirement, and I think that's actually the most likely option, because if the Packers trade or cut him, they're going to lose $40 million of dead cap almost. I think it's like 36 point something. Like, it's a weird situation. And like the Packers are genuinely like the worst quarterback situation right now in football, because their star doesn't want to play for them. And if they get rid of him, they're wasting like a 5th or 6th of their total cap in dead money on just Aaron Rodgers. So I don't know. It's very strange. Of course, if he goes to Denver, then that W turns into an L, and then you're 8-8 or 7-9, or sorry, you're 8-9 or 7-10. I mean, either way, still in that 7-9 win range. So that's kind of where I see it. Again, as I said, right now I'm at 8-9, but that could always change with Aaron Rodgers. Didn't know that. Love your stuff. Hey, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. I'll always remember it. St. Brown is from a football family, and it is like the Ball family of basketball. That's actually true. He has three brothers. Equinemius is with the Packers. He's with the Detroit Lions, and his brother plays at Stanford, I believe, and will probably likely be an NFL wide receiver as well. St. Brown had a great sophomore season, but looked worse the next year. I mean, it was also a COVID year. It was also a year without a true offseason, without spring games. The Pac-12 was probably the worst managed college football league, I guess. The worst division in football when it came to like handling the COVID situation. It was just a mess in the Pac-12. So some of that might not even be on him. My camera history is all Lions. There's one video that 8 Lions. I got 140 something photos on the Lions. Good stuff. Do we still got Adrian Peterson? No, we do not. Officially, he's not on the roster, but he's not signed anywhere else yet. So, I mean, technically he could come back, but I think it's very unlikely. His quarterback was also Kevin Slope, but that's a fair point. The knock on St. Brown is he is a high 4.4-ish 40 time. I mean, yeah, but I wouldn't say that's like the worst. I mean, 4.4-ish is not horrible. Even 4.5 is not horrible for a wide receiver. Definitely not a burner, but we never expected him to be a burner. We expected him to run routes. We expected him to get separation and have good hands. And you don't need 4.3 speed to do that. So, I mean, I get what you're saying. That is kind of a little bit of a knock on him. But at the same time, I think what we expect as far as role-wise out of Amon-Ra, I don't think needs or requires all that speed. 1/40 says maybe St. Brown regression is because Slovis is trash. That's possible. That is possible as well. So I mean, that's kind of like that. You can email the Lions, I guess, if you want. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm seeing right now. Lions fans is good for me. What do you guys think about that? Do you think 8-9 is realistic for the Lions? I mean, honestly, I'm thinking 9-8 to 8-9. It's right in there. 9-7 wins is where I walked in with. I didn't really go in depth with the schedule a ton before this. I hadn't really gone through game by game before right now on this stream and looked at it. And before I came to the stream, my projection and what I've said for months is 7-9 or 7-9 wins. And that's exactly where I came to the conclusion. Now, of course, I had us, losing to Arizona. That could potentially be a win. I had us beating Denver. That could potentially be a loss if Aaron Rodgers is there. I have us 1-1 versus Minnesota. They could sweep. I have us 1-1 versus Chicago. We could sweep. I think there's a lot of different ways the Lions could go about this. And maybe you see a fluctuation. Maybe we upset Pittsburgh. Maybe we get upset by Cincinnati. I think obviously there's infinite different ways that this season could go. But I think 7-9 wins is very, very realistic. And at this point, I'll take 7-9 wins. St. Brown's going to be good for the Lions. I'm hoping so. One thing I hear about more in basketball, but it's truly a basketball and football as well, and that's chemistry. Those coaches have chemistry. Many of these coaches have chemistry with incoming players. That's true as well. A lot of these players have worked with our coaches, and although it is a new coaching staff and new players, they have worked together before, right? You have Alex Anzalone and Aaron Glenn. You have I'm sure there's other examples that I'm just not thinking about right now, but we signed a couple of Saints players. We signed a couple of Rams players. They're going to have chemistry with their former coaches. So I agree with you. I agree with you right there. They have more chemistry than you might expect out of a first-year player and coach in the same situation. Now, Jamar Williams says UDFA center Drake from Kentucky might take Big V's spot at right guard. I don't see it. I don't think so. I think more likely than not, you just see Drake Jackson be a backup center to our boy Frank Ragnow, just in case. But I think it's possible. You might see it. And we'll definitely get a good look in the preseason of what we're going to get in Drake Jackson, what we're going to get in Tommy Kramer, what we're going to get in Logan Stenberg. I think that's kind of the story of the offseason, especially the story of the preseason, is going to be watching this Lions backup offensive line, because I think they have some upside, right? Of course, Logan Stenberg, kind of hyped up last year, didn't even get a snap last season, even though definitely should have gotten some snaps. He didn't get one. So I think this preseason, one of the big things to watch is Drake Jackson at center. Is going to be Tommy Kramer at guard. It's going to be Logan Stenberg at guard. It's going to be, a backup tackle. Can Terrell Crosby play well enough to maybe regain a starting spot? Probably not. But if not, maybe he is good enough to earn a decent trade commission. So we'll have to see. Cooper Kupp is similar to St. Brown. That's true. That's a comparison I've seen drawn a couple of times. John Kepler says, I think we will pick up a name we don't see coming. I don't know what position, but look out when cuts come. We'll have to wait and see. Lions fans, I'm hyped about our offensive line. I'm extremely excited. Anything above 6 wins would be cool with me. I just want to see young guys play good, but it's any given Sunday, and we don't know what's going to happen. Again, we don't know what's going to happen, but we're projecting, and we're trying to be realistic here. You think Bosa will do against Bosa? I don't know what that means. I assume, how do you think Sewell will do against Bosa? I think it'll be good. It'll be a very good test for Big V. And Nick Bosa was real solid. I don't think they played in college at all, but I mean, Big V should be able to get at least some good shots in. So we'll see. 7 to 8 wins is not unrealistic, but with the refs and the lack of depth, they are more likely looking at 5 to 6 wins. As always, depends on the team. What do you mean lack of depth? Where are the Lions lacking depth outside of the safety position? The Lions have good depth pretty much everywhere, except, as I said, except for that safety position. The Lions have pretty good depth across the board. Big V did way better at guard than tackle. Now that he's only playing guard, he'll be way better. Crosby's great insurance while Penny learns. I agree 100% with you right there. I mean, of course, Big V translates way better to guard because he's kind of bigger, stronger, not so agile, and, I guess not so agile when it comes to, kicking out and kind of getting wide and getting good leverage. But I agree 100%. I think it's good to see us play good teams in the preseason just to see how good the schemes are against some of the better teams. That's fair as well. Of course, you're not going to have like a ton of game planning. The preseason isn't like, fully in-depth game plans and scripts and all of that, but I'm with you for sure. Testing ourselves early against some good teams should help us get better for the regular season. Ugh. Sorry, I apologize. Another cool chemistry point, as I hope set the tone, is the high character draft picks. Just watch each of these press conferences with Quar brothers playing together. Healthy could be fun too. I'm with it. And all the Nigerian players as well. Yeah, that was a talking point for sure. Ramen, the New Age, says the linebacker needs more depth. Interior line depth is questionable. Interior line depth is amazing. I don't know what you're talking about. O-line depth is elite. O-line depth is fantastic. Linebackers, I'll give you a little bit. I think we're fine, especially if we're only going to be playing like 2 true linebackers at a time. Collins and Anzalone are fine. Derek Barnes, I feel comfortable with on the field. Jalen Reeves, I'd feel comfortable with on the field. That's not bad. Especially, like I said, especially if we're only playing like 2 true linebackers at a time, I think that depth is just fine. Interior line, I don't know what you're talking about. O-line, I don't know what you're talking about. If we can come out with 6 or more wins, that's better than any Fatty Patty did in the season. I'll be happy that's true. He says receiver depth is questionable. Our top 2 guys get injured often. I mean, not really though. Like Cephas, like our starting guys, right, are Tyrell Williams. They're let's just say Brashad Perryman and Amon-Ra. Quintez Cephas is fine. He can start in the NFL. He did start in the NFL a season ago. You have Damian Ratley is fine. I mean, he's an okay player. You have Khalif Raymond, who we just talked about could get some playing time anyways. The depth isn't horrible in Detroit. It's not a super talented receiver room in general, but the depth in it is not a horrible depth chart, right? Amon-Ra probably won't get injured. You have some decent players across the board. A wide receiver, I might say, is not the most talented, but I wouldn't say is horribly depth-wise. Linebacker, like I said, if you're only playing 2, it doesn't really matter. Safety, I already gave. Wide receiver, whatever. Proven corners, that's not a lack of depth. Cornerback room is pretty stacked. I'm not even going to lie. Jeff Okudah, Amani, you have Mike Ford, you have Quinn Dunbar, you have Corn Elder, you have Ifedi. That's a very good cornerback room. That's very, very talented. You have Quentin Dunbar, who's proven. You have Corn Elder, who proved last year that he can at least start and play decently, not be exposed. Amani has proven over and over again that he can be a very solid corner in the NFL. I'm not going to give you corner. I'm not going to give you linebacker, really. Safety, fine. Safety, definitely a lacking position for depth. But other than that, not really. Not really. It's good to see the Lions getting more than one win. Good to me. Hey, I mean, we're not going to go 0-16 ever again because we go 0-17 this time. Will the Detroit Lions be popular? No, they will not. Lions are never popular. Let's see. Rob Swift, today's game, you really only need two off-ball linebackers in today's game because majority of teams use nickel or dime. That's true as well. Lions will have top 5 coaching staff and top 5 O-line, special teams, and might lead the NFL in sacks. I'm not going to go that far. Top 5 offensive line, definitely possible. Top 5 special teams, definitely possible. Top 5 coaching staff, I think in a year or two we could see it, but I don't think this year we're going to see that. Space Boomer says, record, what's your record prediction? Right now I have us at 9-8, based off right now, and that's with projecting Aaron Rodgers not to be on the Green Bay Packers, because I know that's a big part of it. An advantage for games 1 through 4 this season is nobody knows who we are. Seriously, they've never seen our QB, wide receiver, most of our running backs, our D-line, or our defensive scheme. Basically, everything is new. That's fair as well. Again, that's kind of where I think that week 1, like, it's unknown, it's unproven, nobody's seen it before, and it's going to be adrenaline, excitement that's going to get our team ready, and that unsure that unfamiliarity is going to be what really hurts the other team. Same thing with the Green Bay, especially without Aaron Rodgers. They're not that good of a roster without A-Rod. Baltimore is a genuine Super Bowl contender. So that game we're going to lose. And again, I think we're going to split. Is Chicago our 4th game? It is. Like I said, Chicago, I think we're going to split. So we could start 3-1 or 2-2. Regardless, it doesn't really matter. I think we split versus Chicago anyways. If you have 4 off-ball linebackers on the field, I promise your defense will be garbage. 100%. 100%. Who remembers all our good players in 91? Rest in peace. Not me. I don't remember that because I was not born. I wasn't even a thought yet. So I don't remember that. I wish I did. I really do. I know Barry Sanders. He's a cool guy. Unfortunately, I don't remember that, because I am a youngin' and I was born in 2003, not 1991. I guess that's unfortunate for being a Lions fan, but that's just what it is. So, let's see. Jerry Ball. I don't know what that is, but we'll see. We got 31 people in the chat right now. I'm hoping everybody's having a good time talking some Lions football. We're about an hour 20 into it. We got probably 45 minutes left. So I'm having a good time. Definitely enjoying being back. I have had a super, super busy week. So just getting here to sit down to talk some football, I could not be happier for it. So I'm super happy, man. I'm enjoying talking the football. There are 30 people, and we only have 11 likes. So if we can get those likes up, that would be fantastic. If you've not done so yet, make sure to hit that like button to support the channel. And whoever gave me the 1 thumbs down, that really hurts my feelings. Patricia, that was so not planned. That's just genuinely how that came out of my mouth, was I said Patricia. That's really funny. Patricia did that all the time. And how good was his defense? Not very good. Will Detroit earn their respect? They're going to earn some respect, but people probably still won't give it to them. I mean, the Lions could go 9-8 this season, and everybody will turn around and be like, they're still the Lions. They'll go 5-11 the next year anyway. So they'll earn some stuff, earn some respect, but they're not going to get respect until they win a playoff game, pretty much. If we trade Crosby, only proven backup O-line is Matt Nelson. No one else has NFL snap. That's not depth. But depth is talents. I mean, if all of your offensive linemen have played, that either means your offensive line is incredibly injury prone or just not good. So, but it is depth. It's talent. It's depth, right? I mean, Drake Jackson, yeah, he's a rookie, but he's talented. Tommy Kramer, backup, but he's talented. And rookie, but he's talented. You have Logan Stenberg. He is a second-year player. He did practice a full year with an NFL team. So although he hasn't played in games, he does have that NFL experience, you could say. So, I mean, that is depth. That's talent. So that argument's kind of flawed. How the first snap of a game is usually a run. I think that's true. So anyway, our first play in the home opener should be a play action pass, drop a bomb to Perryman, touchdown. That would be wild. If the Lions open up first play, touchdown, that'd be amazing. That would be fantastic. So defensive tackle or defensive end in next year's draft, definitely defensive end. Defensive end, I think, could be, Trey Flowers. His contract, I think he has 2 years left, I want to say, this year and next year. You could definitely look to move on from Trey Flowers. Romeo's here. Our interior defensive line, I think, is kind of filled unless you get really good value in the draft. But edge rusher for sure. Edge rusher, definitely. It's a really good edge rusher class. Kayvon Chason. Kayvon Thibodeau, phenomenal player. I know Aiden Hutchinson is an edge rusher from this class. There's at least one Ohio State player, good edge rusher from this class. I think edge rusher you could see. Edge rusher definitely. Interior, I don't think so. I don't agree on Corn Elder or Alex Anzalone being quality players. I never count on rookies being quality players right away. All the free agents the Lions signed were free agents for a reason. Kenny Galladay was a free agent. That doesn't make him a bad player. Tom Brady was a free agent. That doesn't make him a bad player. Just because somebody's a free agent doesn't mean they're bad, doesn't mean that nobody wants them, doesn't mean they have no talent. Sometimes it means the scheme changed and they don't fit anymore. Sometimes it means the money wasn't there. Sometimes it means they just didn't want to be there anymore. So to use the argument that they were free agents for a reason is, again, kind of flawed. And Alex Anzalone is a good player. Corn Elder, like I said, stepped up big last year and could be a fine depth piece. He showed it last year. He's literally proven in the NFL that he can be a solid cornerback player. We definitely drafting a safety next year. That I'm with. What do you think about Trey Flowers at outside linebacker? I'm just hoping he doesn't have to drop into coverage too much. That's all I'm saying. I'm just, as long as he's not dropping into coverage, I think he's going to be fine. If he's rushing the passer 95% of the time, 99% of the time at outside linebacker, playing kind of a Von Miller, like you are a linebacker, but you are an edge rusher first and you are to get to the quarterback immediately, he's going to be fine. He's going to be okay. Same thing with Romeo. Let's see. Our starting wide receiver last year were free agents. That's true. Kenny Galladay wanted out of Detroit. Big difference. Exactly. A lot of players don't want to return to these teams. That's why they're free agents. It's not because they're bad players. It's because either scheme didn't work, money didn't work. Alex Anzalone is a free agent because the Saints had no money. Rashad Perryman's a free agent because he was on the Jets, because he didn't want to play there anymore. How are you going to use the argument that Kenny Galladay didn't want to be a Lion, so that's why he's not here, but then turn around and not have that same argument or same, I guess, viewpoint for anybody else? Jamar Jefferson. Jamar Williams says we can lead the NFL in sacks, and our coaches are former players and coached at higher positions than they currently at. I don't think we're going to lead the NFL in sacks, but I think we're going to be really solid this year. I think we're going to definitely be vastly improved from a year ago, but leading the NFL in sacks, I think, is kind of a far stretch. Let's see. Who wishes they still had Mel Gray? I don't know who that is, so couldn't tell you. A defensive tackle is nice too, and believe it or not, Brocker is low-key a bridge player. Look at his contract and his age. Defensive tackle definitely up there. That's true. I think he has 3 years left on the Lions, so I wouldn't be mad. But I'm with you that he's a bridge player, but I don't know if we draft somebody this year to take over. Deshaun Hand is still young. If he's healthy, I think can take over a Michael Brocker's role. So that replacement might be on the team right now, again, if he's healthy. So like I said, I think you could see an issue defensive lineman next year, but I think the priority should definitely be safety, should definitely be edge rusher before you look interior. But definitely not off the table, just not necessarily the number one priority. Or Broderick Thomas. I don't know who that is. I don't, but if he's good, I like it. We better become a Lion, not a kitty cat. Man, I'm hoping so. I'm just hoping for some wins next year. Who remembers William White returning a pick six for the Lions versus Dallas and walking into the end zone backwards? That was the best. Love the Lions team. Man, I hope so. Because historically speaking, nobody wants to nobody wants to come to Detroit. That's why we have a history of overpaying. History is history. That's fine. It's not now, though. History tells me that Dan Campbell is fine. History tells me that nobody knows what Brad Holmes is going to do. So, I mean, using history to mention free agents is, again, a flawed argument because that's not how it is. Dan Campbell is convincing a lot of players to come here on one-year contracts when they probably wouldn't have under Matt Patricia. You don't know who Mel Gray is? I'd like to have him. I don't. I do not. That's funny because this group of free agents say they want to be here. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. One Pride 40, like, history tells you that. History also doesn't have Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell at the helm of the ship. History also tells you that the last time the Lions had a motivator, they were a good team. So there you go for history. People want to come to Detroit now. I think they definitely want to come here to play with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. One preference is I have no faith in Hand. I mean, I'm losing faith for sure. I'm always going to root for Hand. And I'm always going to have this what if in my head of what if he was healthy? Because when he's healthy, he's been a really good player. But like I said, it's fleeting a little bit. The faith is definitely not where it used to be. So we'll have to see. That's what I'm saying. It's still on the table. Definitely still on the table. I'll sit with you right there. I'll be at that table. I'm there. I don't know what the interior class looks like. Again, I haven't done a ton of research. I've definitely looked at edge rushers more next year or for next year. So I'll definitely look into interior defensive linemen, but I think it definitely set up better right now than the edge rushers. When were the Lions a good football team? I mean, they averaged 9 wins a season under Jim Caldwell, including an 11-5 campaign where they definitely should have won a playoff game. And they brought in Marvin Jones, who was a good free agent. They brought in Glover Quinn, who was a good free agent. I mean, Golden Tate was a good free agent for them. I mean, they were doing all right. Who wants Chris Spielman? I know who that is. I'll take Chris Spielman. Let's see. Looney Tunes says, lol, people forget we had some staff get offered jobs and they chose to stay here because of Dan Campbell. That's true as well. That is true as well. Rob Swift says, I'm 36 and never seen a playoff win. I can't remember. So no, the Lions have not been good. But they have been because I'm 17 and I remember a time where the Lions were a decent football team where they were winning 9 to 11 games a season. It was 4 years ago. It was not that long ago. The Lions were a competitive, good football team. So, I mean, I think you're just being pessimistic. But whatever. I miss Lomas Brown. I know who that is too. I do know a couple players from that 91 team. But yeah, I mean, imagine that team, man. That 91 team was good. That 91 team won some playoff games. So I don't remember Robert Clark, but some of these players I know for sure. But I mean, that team won by playing some defense and running the football, kind of like the Lions are doing right now, at least from what I've seen, at least from what I've understood. So, I mean, hey, if we can do the same thing, replicate that, maybe we have a 91-esque season. Maybe we go win a playoff game. Who knows? Again, probably very optimistic thinking, probably not going to happen, but you never know. Every year somebody shocks the NFL. The Browns shocked the NFL this year. The football team shocked the NFL world this year. A couple years ago, there's always teams that outperform what they should be doing. I think the Lions can be that team this year. So we'll have to definitely wait and see on that one. But all I'm going to say, the last time the Lions had success, they ran the ball and they played some solid defense. And kind of looking like that's the direction that Brad Holmes is trying to build this football team up. So, again, we'll have to wait and see. But it will definitely be a fun one. Definitely be interesting to watch and definitely be interesting to see. But let's see. The 27 people in the chat. Hope everybody is enjoying themselves. Let's see. What else is going on in the Detroit Lions world? Detroit, Detroit Lions. Let's see what's going on. We'll go to news. We'll just see what's going on. Let's see. Detroit Free Press. To force more turnovers, Detroit will need to keep it cloudy for opposing quarterbacks. Fair enough. The Lions offense still ahead of the defense, but not like we're used to. good. We're getting more balance. That's great. Which player will benefit most from Detroit's new coaching staff? I'd say Jeff Okudah is definitely up there. Let's see. Steve O says Rob Swift. They made it 3 times with Stafford. There you go. And again, QB wins also still not a stat. Why are we acting like people hate MCDC because of his kneecap, which was way overblown? But why are people like Jamal Williams coming here if they don't like MCDC? I don't know anybody that said they don't like him. I think everybody said that they love my man, Dan Campbell. So we'll see. Looney Tunes says, we signed a corner a few days ago. I forgot his name. Would that be Alex Brown? That would be the cornerback we signed a couple of days ago. We also signed Elijah Holder from Stanford, and I believe from Denver before that. Or Denver, then Stanford before that. But, we signed those 2, and then we signed a tight end who somebody sent me how to pronounce the name, and I still haven't learned it yet. Rob Swift is a team with a winning record, considered a good team in your eyes. Not good, not great. That's what I've been saying. I never said we were a great football team, but I said we were a good football team. A team with a winning record is considered good, and that's what the Lions were. Jason Phillips, Willie Green, Christian, whatever, Eddie Murray, Kelvin Pritich, Tracy, all gone. I want them back. I mean, I think everybody wants the 91 team back. A team that wins playoff games is considered good. That's, so I guess there was only a couple of good football teams this year. Okay. That's fine. There were 7 teams that won playoff games this year, 8 teams that won playoff games this year. So there are only 8 good teams in the NFL. Okay, I guess. There's something special about the chemistry with Levi Onwuzurike and Aleem McNeil. These two won't both be able to be double teamed and that at the same time. 100%. 100%. Looney Tune right here backing me says, okay, and Miami went 10-6 this year and missed the playoffs. Are they not good just because they didn't win a playoff game? That's exactly what I've been saying. How many teams won a playoff game this year? Because there were 3 on each side of the division, or there were 3 games on each side of the, each conference. So that was 6 plus the 2 byes. According to Rob Swift, there's only 8 good teams in the NFL. So, hey, whatever. I feel some responsibility for being your first super chat. I have $5 more. I will super chat it to you, or I will go down and go bet on the division, man. Go bet on that division win, man. Go make yourself some money. Bet on the Lions. Bet on your home team. I don't need the money right now. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that supports the channel, but hey, you don't feel obligated to give me your money, man. Go spend it how you want to spend it. But say people don't want to come here now. It's wild to me. It's not true anymore. It might have been true under Patricia, but it's not true anymore. If you have a winning record in the NFL, it's a good season. Okay. And if you have a good season, then you must be a pretty solid team, at least for that season. One Lions fan says, I miss Brad Kaya playing as backup. I actually like Brad Kaya. I thought he was a good backup. I don't know why Quinn Tricia let him go so early. What did he play in one offseason? He played 2 preseason games and was decent for the Lions. And then they cut him. I never understood that move. That move was kind of weird. Home Pro First says, oh, by the way, you don't build teams in free agency. That's true as well. That is true as well. You definitely got to keep them. You draft building teams, but you got to keep them around. So I guess if you want to consider that free agency of keeping your drafted players, then I guess technically. But yeah, you build through the draft, you build through drafted players, and that's how the Lions are set up right now. A lot of draft picks in the future, a lot of cap space to pay those players. Very excited for the future. The 99 team was dope, but the quarterback wasn't a Pro Bowler. Yeah, that was their big problem in the 90s, from what I understand, is the quarterback situation was a little less than ideal. Well, I'm putting that 5 down for you on the division. No worries. I want to. Hey, like I said, whatever you want to do, it's your money. Nobody should ever feel obligated to pay me money. I'm here for fun. I'm here having a great time talking some Detroit Lions football. That is payment enough for me. So I appreciate it. I really, really do. But we'll see. Miami is not a good team. I don't like their quarterback. He's shown nothing yet of being a quality quarterback in the NFL. But they're 10-6. That makes them a good football team. Like that. What do you mean that Miami's not a good football team? They literally went 10-6 and like were half a game out of the playoffs because Buffalo was just really, really good. I mean, okay. I mean, I'm sorry, but you're incorrect, Rob. You're just not on the same track, not on the right space today, buddy. You swing and a miss on that one. I want Billy Sims back. He was Barry Sanders in the 80s and even wore number 20. Yeah, he was. He was pretty good. He was pretty solid. Looney Tunes in disbelief. He says, bro, what are you talking about? What are you on? Okay, that was a little far. A little far. That's better. Let's see. O-line. This is an interesting one. I came across this. Lions O-line coach Hank Fairley, again, a guy that came back to Detroit being arguably the best offensive line coach in the NFL, says Hal Vaitai can do a lot of things that people in the league can't do. That gives me some hope. That gives me a little bit of excitement for sure. I'm excited to see Hal. I liked the signing last year, not contract-wise, but talent-wise, I liked the pickup. I thought he was an upgrade at the offensive line. I'll admit that I was wrong. Definitely a little bit more wrong than right on that one, but I think at guard, he's going to be better. His skills definitely transition a little better to guard. Definitely a better run blocker, which, again, will help him better at guard than at tackle. And, again, he's a big guy, big, strong, powerful. He has some things. He has some tools that you just can't teach people. So I kind of agree with Hank Fairley on that one. I think Big V takes a big step forward. One part 40 says they went 10-6. Yes, they did. Rob Swift, so what about the rest of Miami's team? Don't make sense. Yeah, their defense was – what was their defense? Their defense was like top 5 in takeaways, I want to say. Hold on. PFR is where I go to for a lot of my statistics because I find they're genuinely and generally pretty accurate. Let's see. So if we go to seasons, if it ever loads. So we'll go to seasons 2020 team defense. Let's see what happens. The Miami Dolphins were, well, the Lions were the worst. Let's see. Miami, they were 20th in yards. That's not great. I'll give them that. Let's see. I mean, they have the number 2 cornerback in the NFL, which is pretty solid. That was not what I wanted. Can we not do that? Let's see. Looney Tune says, how that a bad team overall just because of the quarterback position. One part first says, I'm not high on Tua either. I'm not high on Tua, but the rest of that Dolphins team is really good. The rest of that Dolphins team is very solid. Let's see. Who led the NFL in interceptions? It might have been the Dolphins. It was the Dolphins. They led the NFL in interceptions. That is crazy. Must be a pretty solid defense. Me either, but I think Miami's still a very good team. Miami's still a great team. I mean, again, 10-6, good football team. I wouldn't say anything offensively like really wows me about their team. Tua definitely has some room to grow. Tua's definitely got some space to improve, I would say. Definitely needs to work on some things and get better. But, yeah, okay. Rob Shore says, Miami had 4 games of 300 yards passing. That's fine. They won 10 football games. Out of 16 games that they played, they won 10. That makes them a good football team. The Lions might have 4 games next year of 300 passing yards. Passing yards doesn't make you a good football team. Victories do. Because if it was all about stats, Stafford would be a top 10 quarterback all time. And I love Stafford. I love myself some Matthew Stafford, but he's not top 10 all time. Top 10 Lion all time. Yeah. Top 10 Lion all time. Absolutely. But stats don't make you a good football team. Stats don't make you a good football team. Let's see. Team stats and standings. We'll go here too. Like how this turned into just like, let's prove Miami's a good football team. I agree. They had a weak schedule. That's fine. They won football games. What does that even mean, Rob? Again, like, they're a good football team. If they had a weak schedule, that means they were a better football team than the rest of the teams that they played, hence making them a good football team. I don't know how else to describe this to you. Miami's pretty gosh darn solid. That's all I'm gonna say. Right, Miami, double-digit wins, can't ask for much more. I mean, you literally they didn't make the playoffs because the Cleveland Browns finished third in their division at 11-5, and they were really good. Indianapolis finished second with 11-5. The AFC was super competitive this year, so I don't know what we're talking about, but yeah. What about Cleveland? Cleveland's a very good team. Cleveland's very solid. Yeah, Cleveland finished third in their division last year. Does that mean they're a bad football team? But they won playoff games, but does that mean they're the third best team in their division, or how does that work? I don't know. Let's see. I don't know, man. We got 15 minutes left. I don't really got nothing else to talk about, so we'll see as it kind of winds down. Danny Frito with a nice big talking point. I don't know what this is about, but I like it. What if the Lions coach or admin could play if Nick this year? I don't know what I mean. DC, Randall L., Aubrey, Aaron Glenn, Fairley, Anthony Lynn, Tanner, and Mark Brunell. Hypothetically joke. But seriously, which coach would play the best this year? I don't know. I don't know. Aaron Glenn, I don't think he's that old. Anthony Lynn's definitely older. Mark Brunell, definitely a little older. Randall L. might be able to play still. Low-key, Randall L. might be kind of nasty as a coach player. Like, I'm just saying. If you think coming in second out of 4 teams in the division and not making the playoffs is a good team, name another sport where you consider good then miss the playoffs. I mean, if you have a winning record, if your win percentage is If your win percentage is .625, you're a good football team. That's as simple as that. The Browns finished third in their division. Does that make them a worse team than Miami? Because Miami finished second. The placement in the division doesn't matter. It has to do with wins and losses, and Miami wins more games than they lose, making them a good football team. Rob, what are you trying to prove? I'm confused. He's trying to prove that Miami is not a good football team, basically, is what he's trying to prove. So yeah, that's kind of that. Let's see. I like this comment. Who would be the best player coach? Let me know what you guys think. Who would be the best players coach? Because personally, I'm taking Antoine Randall. I'm taking maybe Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell looked kind of thin, like low key. Last time I saw him, he looked kind of thin, not quite in playing shape, but yeah, I'm sorry, but here. Let's see. My next Lions football cards. I got 360. That's good stuff. I don't mean to keep skipping you, man. I'm not trying to, I promise. Rob, what are you trying to prove? He said he keeps skipping my comment. I really don't mean to. I'm sorry. If you have a young team, it can be good without winning. I don't know if that's a good football team so much as an improving and a potentially good football team, but I kind of get what you're saying. Does think like SOL for you? Sure don't look like it. If you're asking, does this look like an SOL team to me? No, I don't think so. I don't believe this is the same old Lions football team because I think this team is ran better. I think it's coached better. I think it is schemed better. And I think these players are going to play harder and play faster. You could say Green Bay had a weak schedule too. They played San Fran, Carolina, Jacksonville, Minnesota, Detroit, Philly, Houston, and Houston. They played Houston twice. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Green Bay did not have a tough schedule, to be totally honest. Spielman could be getting out there, lol. Maybe. Might have to see. We might have to see. Oh, you said, okay, Atlanta. Yeah, Atlanta's true too. But yeah, no, I feel you. Definitely Green Bay did not have the toughest schedule this season. They go, I don't even think they have a tough schedule this year, do they? Here, we'll go, where the Green Bay Packers at? Where my boy my boys. Let's see. I don't know if the schedule's here. I mean, I know it's out, but we'll see. If we go to games and schedules. Yeah, it's not here. That's fine. Green Bay Packers schedule. I want to see this year because I think they don't have that tough of a schedule this year, to be totally honest. Uh, I mean, they play the Texans and the Jets in preseason, which is not good. Let's see. Spielman can out there. Until it's proven on the field, it's just on paper and means nothing, except for Miami literally did it on the field. Edward says, what up, Doe? I'm watching PGA Championship. I can never get behind golf, but I hope you enjoy. I hope you're having a fun time watching. Lions fan says, I miss James Hunter and Al Baker. Again, I don't know much about it, but we'll see. It's unfortunate that they're no longer playing anymore. Besides Stafford, what Detroit QB in the modern era is better than Goff? I don't think anybody. Honestly, I don't think anybody in the modern football era. Of course, you could. I mean, what was his name? Bobby Lane was not modern era, but he's probably the second best quarterback in Lions history. And I mean, in the modern era, Jared Goff would be way better. Let's see. What's New Orleans or what's Green Bay looking like this year? Let's see. Okay, that's a fair point, but it does. This looks like a same old Lions offseason, though. That does not. It does not. This is a new era in Detroit. Looking forward to it. Me too. So the New Orleans Saints, they face New Orleans. That's a tough team. Detroit, like I said, I think they're going to lose to Detroit. I think we're going to be better than people expect. I think we're going to be an average team. I think San Francisco is going to bounce back and be pretty solid, be, average 8 to 9 wins. Pittsburgh, I think, is going to be good. Cincinnati, I don't think so. Chicago, I think, is not going to be that great. I mean, solid, but not great. Washington, solid, but not great. Arizona, solid, but not great. Kansas City, rough. Seattle, L. Minnesota, probably an L. Los Angeles, L. Chicago, probably a dub. Baltimore, L. Cleveland, L. So what is the Packers going to look like? So, I mean, probably an L week 1, L week 2, L week 4, L week 8, L week 9, week 10, 12, 15, 16. Bro, that's like 7, 8 losses, like almost, not going to say guaranteed, but I don't know. Go backwards. Bobby Lane, Rodney Peete, Andre Ware, all good Lion quarterbacks. Were they? But that's not modern era, I don't believe, is it? I don't believe that's modern era. Danny Fitro, said someone posted the draft room from our year picking Hawkinson, followed by the year's draft room picking Sewell. It was draft night, the passion and excitement, owner, GM, coach, and owner, and others in the room. Yeah, that's true. The excitement and the passion in the draft room, especially, was something that I was very happy to see. I mean, they were excited, they were hyped, they loved pretty much every player they got. And I don't know if it was like that every day. I don't know if it was like that for every pick, but I will say they were excited to get themselves some Penei Sewell. And I was excited too. I was hopping up and down. I was jumping. I was having a great time. And I was so excited for it. So, yeah, the passion is definitely different. So what, the Packers are not going to have that good of a season. Shit. I mean, I know we all have like kind of similar schedules just because that's kind of how it works out. Let's see. If it was SOL, Dorsey wouldn't be here. That's true as well. I think Dorsey's an underrated part of this rebuild. And Luke says Rodney Peete was bad. Again, I don't think I was born for Rodney Peete. I was definitely not there. One Prop 40 says exactly. What's Chicago looking like? They'll probably lose week 1. They'll probably lose to Cleveland. I think we sweep them, so that's 1 loss to us. They'll lose to Tampa. They'll probably lose to San Francisco. Maybe not. They'll probably lose to Pittsburgh, definitely Baltimore, probably Arizona, probably Seattle. Like, that's 7 losses right there, too. Lions fan, look up Andre Ware's stats. I don't think he threw the ball ever. Let's go see it. Let's see. Andre Ware. Is that how you spell it? Didn't mean to do that. Yeah, that's the man. That is a Detroit Lions uniform. I was gonna say, I don't know who this is. So he had a 3-3 quarterback record. Had a 51% completion percentage for 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. Yikes. Oh, that's not on the screen. Oh, that's really embarrassing. Let's see. So he had, I was going to go over one more time. So he went 3-3, 51% completion for just over 1,100 yards with a 5-8 touchdown interception ratio. I don't know about that one, boys. Rodney Pete wasn't great, but a lot better than most of the garbage quarterbacks we had. Again, not difficult to do, but fair enough. Before Stafford, Scott Mitchell was our best quarterback Super Bowl era. I feel like I should know Scott Mitchell. We'll see. Things are moving around. Let's see. What is Scotty Mitchell looking like? Scott Mitchell, 91 to 2001. Oh, so was he a rookie the year we went to the playoffs? Because that'd be wild. Before Stafford, Scott Mitchell was the best. Rob Swifstead, and we had a first-round pick, 7th overall, super bust of a pick. Oh, I got you. Okay. When I saw 7th overall pick, I thought you were talking about Penny Sewell for a second, and I was like, what are you talking about? There's no, I mean, it must not have been, but Danny says, Eric Patricia banned music at practice. He tried to lay down the law rather than gain connection. Yeah, Matt Patricia just wasn't great. See, what's Scotty? Oh, Scotty Mitchell at least like had some stuff going on. Oh, so he definitely wasn't there for 91. So what? He had a 32-39 record, 55% completion, 15,000 yards. Like, that's not bad. 95 to 81. Like, that's not a horrible. But in Detroit, he was 27 of 30, 56%, 79 to like that's. I mean, not horrible. Like, I wouldn't say that's trash, but definitely not great. Luke says Scott Mitchell was trash. I mean, I didn't watch him, but based off the stats, like I wouldn't say horrible. I'd definitely say bad, but not trash. Maybe I'm wrong, but Lucius Ryder, which side of the ball you think will be starting point for this team? Definitely the offense. Definitely the offense. Our last 7th overall pick was Roy Williams. That's unfortunate. LMAO, I think. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Offensive line, Looney, definitely. Andre Ware was the 7th overall. He was supposed to be the first Michael Vick. Okay, so that's what you're talking about. Dead Dude Live says, what up, Ryder? And what up, Luke? How you doing today? Glad you could come and join us. A little late, but we'll be ending in a couple minutes. But good to see you eventually got here. Our offensive line is going to be good. I can feel it. I'm hoping so. Scott Mitchell, Charlie Batch, Rodney Pete, Bobby Lane, Dutch Clark, Andre Ware had a good record for all the snaps he had in his career. Okay. Now, if he was talking about Sewell, I was going to put him on blast. Yeah. He was not. Eric Kramer took the Lions to the NFC Championship. Font, should he stay with Kramer? I mean, like I said, QB record is not a stat. I didn't see him play, so I don't know how good he was. But if he took us to a championship, I can't complain, I suppose. But I think that's kind of where we're going to wrap it up today. Again, fun time talking Lions football. About 2 hours into it. Started at noon, going to just under 2 o'clock. I had a fun time talking Lions, man. A lot of good discussion. Got to kind of view this Lions schedule, kind of see where we're sitting right now as far as win and losses. I'm excited for the season, man. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for 2021, especially excited for 2022 and 23. It's going to be fun to be a Lions fan. A couple of years, we're going to be looking back and thinking how impressive Brad Holmes is doing. I'm excited for it, man. But with all that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Don Burr says Luke G got us winning 18 games. Not gonna happen, but we'll see. But thank you all very much for watching. I will see you next time. I'll see you tomorrow with some more Detroit Lions content. Until next time, And as always, go Lions.